Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. Adeoye Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West, and Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered because your girl got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be shown on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Where is your go-to destination for quality content on TV? Stop the search and catch us live. Western Spring Television, channel 190 on StarTimes. We take pride in delivering top-notch programs that keep you glued to your screen. From juicy entertainment gist to engaging current affairs programs, politics, exclusive news, sports, drama, gossip, music, and hey, your kids are not left out. These are available in English and Yoruba languages. Also get exclusive premieres, captivating documentaries, and thrilling live events only on Western Spring Television on StarTimes channel 190. It's either you laugh, learn, giggle, dance, or shout on Western Spring Television. It's no boredom zone. We are value driven. So catch us live on Western Spring Television on StarTimes channel 190. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can also subscribe and live stream our programs on YouTube. Your television experience just got better. Western Spring Television. Us it is.
Sports is a culture on its own. It has its own language, its own people, with their own way of life. The world of sports is never void of actions, stories, dramas, and scandals. I guess you need a sports show that can walk the walk and talk the talk.
On this show, we answer all your sporting questions. The whens, the whys, the wheres, and even the what ifs. Sports Spring is that show that will give you that new lease of life you've been looking for in sport journalism. Join me, Joseph Atewe,
And your sports Amazon, Nengi Ernest.
on this station, Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Let's talk sports. Let's speak the most universal language of the world.
The British Empire was the largest and the most powerful in the world. At its zenith, the empire embraced a quarter of the Earth's land surface and imposed her imperial majesty's rule on more than 458 million peoples across nations and continents. The empire took off with overseas possessions and trading posts established by England, spread over 3 million kilometers between 16th and early 18th century. Like previous empires, the British Empire began to crumble on its weight of overstretched territories and growing unrest in our various colonies. Today, the British Empire no longer exists. What is in place is the Commonwealth of Nations, a loose association of sovereign states which recognize the King of England as the titular head. Western Spring Television identifies the British Empire as a watershed empire in history. Dramatist, playwright, and icon of Yoruba thematic arts, Duro Ladipo was born December 18, 1931 in Osogbo, southwest Nigeria. His clergyman father christened him Timothy. His other names, Duro Dola, Duro Shomo, Duro Rike, reflected his persona and the circumstances that surrounded his birth. The legendary stage actor had in several public fora identified himself as one of the greatest abikus born to die in this world. Family records reveal how he was born and died 13 times. The intertwining names he bore thus lent credence to his spiritism. Duro Ladipo was one of the best known and world-acclaimed Yoruba dramatists to emerge from post-colonial Africa. His notable works Obakoso, Obawaja and Moremi took him beyond Africa to several parts of the world. By the time Duro Ladipo died on 11 March 1978, the Nigeria's first cultural ambassador had acquired a towering image as an artist whose works adorned the frontage of Trenchard Hall, University of Ibadan. Western Spring Television identifies Duro Ladipo as a major character in history. Fumilayo Ransom Kuti was an educationist and advocate of women's rights. She was recognized for her vitriolic comments against colonial policy of taxation as it affected the Nigerian women. Bere, as fondly addressed by her women followers, Fumilayo championed the initiation of universal adult suffrage, which gave an unprecedented leeway for women to contest elective offices and power to exercise voting rights. Married to a foremost educationist and teacher, Israel Oladotun Ransom Kuti, the first president of Nigeria Union of Teachers, Fumilayo Ransom Kuti was the mother of children who inherited her spirit of activism. Olufela and Be Kololari, the former, a renowned musical legend. She was the first female student of Abeokuta Grammar School and the first female to own and drive a car in Nigeria. The award recipient of Member of Order of Nigeria MON and Lenin Peace Prize, was born on 25th October 1900 and was killed on 13th April 1978 by rampaging road soldiers in Lagos. Western Spring Television identifies Fumilayo Ransom Kuti as a watershed character in history. Hilas Olayinka Herbert Macaulay, politician, nationalist and journalist, was the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer, surveyor and architect. Born on November 14, 1864, Herbert Macaulay was the founder of Nigeria's National Democratic Party, the first political party in pre-independent Nigeria. Scholars of Nigeria's political history describe Herbert Macaulay as the intellectual bulldog of 19th century Nigerian nationalist movement, in deference to his qualities as founder and leader of two foremost political parties, Nigeria National Democratic Party (NNDP) and National Council of Nigerian Citizens (NCNC). His matchless versatility in party organization and control kept the British colonialists on their toes in the entire span of his active life. After his death on 7th May 1946, Herbert Macaulay remains a hero of his country, which recognized his anti-colonial struggles. Today, Nigeria's 10 Naira coin bears his oval face and trademark moustache. Western Spring Television identifies Herbert Macaulay as a major character in history.
where is your go-to destination for quality content on TV. Stop the search and catch us live. Western Spring Television, channel 190 on StarTimes. We take pride in delivering top-notch programs that keep you glued to your screen, from juicy entertainment gist to engaging current affairs programs, politics, exclusive news, sports, drama, gossip, music, and hey, your kids are not left out. These are available in English and Yoruba languages. Also get exclusive premieres, captivating documentaries, and thrilling live events only on Western Spring Television on StarTimes channel 190. It's either you laugh, learn, giggle, dance, or shout on Western Spring Television. It's no boredom zone. We are value driven. So catch us live on Western Spring Television on StarTimes channel 190. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can also subscribe and live stream our programs on YouTube. Your television experience just got better. Western Spring Television.
Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. You're welcome to Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. This is your darling station where we say it as it is. This program is where we look at topical and trending issues of public importance. At this time, 7 a.m. every weekday. FEMI Ojo is my name. Thank you for joining us again. And of course, we are live on our YouTube channel at this time at Western Spring Television. On the program, we usually firstly look at the major stories from the headlines. And at the other side of that, we then get talking about topical issues. Just like I said earlier, it's a good day to be alive. You're welcome. You can join us on StarTimes at channel 190, the DTT. Thank God for the gift of life. And I have my colleague here today. Good morning.
Morning, Femi. Good morning, world. Good morning, virtually anywhere and everywhere you are viewing us from, either live from StarTimes 190 DTT or on all our social media platforms. We'd like to say thank you for always keeping it real with us right here at Western Spring Television. Tunde IDOWU is my name, at Irresistible TD on X, welcoming you to Morning Spring.
Of course, many things happening at this time, different stroke for different folks. In this nation, just like in every part of the world, there will always be something to talk about. Sometimes pleasant, sometimes not so pleasant, you know, from the US to Europe to North America. Of course, part of the US is part of North America, South America, Africa, Australia, Antarctica, even in the moon as well, possibly.
Something is happening there.
Something is happening there, you know. So we get to just talk about these things because these are the things that should be on the front burner. Absolutely. You know, many issues happening. There has been insinuation in different quarters that maybe through the back door or in a kind of way, maybe the subsidy is back. Yes, subsidy, because the demand, the fact of the demand and supply, the world market, many things that happens on this matter, but it seems the government has been talking as well and say the era of subsidy is gone. There is nothing like that. We look into these and other matters as well. But firstly, we look at the papers for today. We have quite a lot of them to look into. And of course, let's start here. For today, the Daily Sun. The Daily Sun newspaper has this bold headline. Of course, we read part of it yesterday. almost something similar. TUNDE, okay.
To stop.
Yes, TUNDE moves to stop Chicago University. It seems the last has not been heard.
Absolutely.
About these Chicago University results, transcript, the political undertone. Definitely, you know, the opposition parties are the one calling for this, especially the PDP and its presidential candidate, Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Maybe it's on, say, the Supreme Court nails the final coffin on the issue that we possibly these will stop. But then TUNDE moves to stop Chicago University, wants institution not to release details on gender, transcript, or the academic records, but only certificate. Some things are looking fishy here. What's the fuss about gender? If it's about President TUNDE, why are we worried about gender? Last time I checked, he's a man.
Probably we just hope that on his transcript, it's not put as a female. So probably
why will he be put? Did he have, you know, these are very serious issues, especially to the persons looking for that particular answer. But then when you hear something like details on gender, transcript.
I really don't understand.
What's the fuss about the gender?
Seriously.
Can somebody attend a school as a female and then later identify as a male or vice versa, but then the courts are on these? One institution not to release details on gender, transcript, or the academic records, but only certificate. Okay.
Oh boy.
So the year will go. It's going to be a long one. It's looking like it's going to be a long one.
So it's not. Look, it's going to be a long story.
Definitely.
And trust politicians.
Yeah.
There is always something to quote. There's always something to talk about.
Yeah.
They always drag this. They always have something to bring out.
Out of these issues.
I believe we haven't seen the end.
Definitely.
Towards this.
Most definitely.
We'll keep our fingers
especially politicians that are outside the camp of the person being investigated at this time. All right, because it's saying on gender, hold it. On transcript, hold it. But on certificate, there you go. You have it. All right.
I don't understand.
And of course, boldly, we will never understand because we are not politicians, at least as of now. All right. Bold picture there of His Royal Majesty Igwe Emmanuel Ikechukwu Chukwuma. He is indeed one of Cote d'Ivoire. All right. Okay. That is in Africa Coast. Moving on the stories. Seeking investors abroad, waste of time. LP, that's OB, Labour Party, taking back Nigeria will come with violence. How so? This is credited to Mr. Peter Obi. If you need the detail of that, of course, you should pick up a copy of the Daily Sun for today. What does he mean by saying seeking investor abroad is a waste of time? And what has been credited to him to say taking back the country will come in a certain manner. You speak up that story. No cause for alarm over fire incident, Supreme Court. And then the PDP saying we suspect foul play. All right. INEC to conduct mock accreditation of voters in Bayelsa, Imo, Kogi, October 11. That's the off-season cycle elections, governorship elections in these 3 states. One in the south-south, one in the southeast, and one in the north-central. Wish them all the best. Tension in Benue as gunmen abduct commissioner, ex-LGA chairman. Act barbaric, condemnable, and unacceptable. That's coming from the governor and the government of Benue State. That's a bad one when a commissioner's house can be breached and he can be handpicked, fetched, and abducted. Then what becomes of other citizens that doesn't have security detail? A commissioner?
It's scary.
Very.
It is scary. Because at this point in time, if that kind of person, with due respect to everybody, we are all human beings, we are all in our capacity.
But with the position and status.
Of course, it's got security
with
details.
The details.
But I feel more for the security details because if you engage and they overrun you, they probably have to just kill them,
fatality
and stuff like that. But it's getting to that. It's really scary. That's
very scary. There is no other language.
It's really
scary, and you know, discomforting to hear such a person. So ordinary persons, quote and unquote, the regular guys will just be thinking, so what's our plight? Yeah. Nose, throat infection kills 453 in 9 months. Urgent vaccination effort underway. Suspected cases hit 11,000, and I think diphtheria is being regarded here, is being talked about as nose and throat infection. Tribunal dismisses Jandor, wrote Viva petitions, affirms Sanwo-Olu's election. All right, all the best to them in Lagos. Ex-Kano Emir, Sanusi hits APC hard, says government under ruling party has set Nigeria 40 years backwards. That's coming from His Eminence, the former Emir of Kano, of course, Emir Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, who definitely for who he is, will never hold back on his thoughts. Whatever he feels, he says it. And that's what he saying, that government under APC, that's the ruling party at the center, has set Nigeria 40 years backward. You want to have what he talked about and how that happened and in what regard, to pick up a daily of this paper. Abducted 13 Zamfara students, 3 others regain freedom. That sounds like good news. Then let them go after the abductors. This should not be happening. And not all the abducted persons have been recovered. I think it's coming beat after beat. Kudos to the security, but how about we get to the part that the abduction would not even take place at all? Because the trauma associated with this is not something that anybody wants to experience, either as an abductee or as a family member.
It's a serious case at this point in time, because that trauma tend to live with one for the rest of one's life. Any slight noise or any slight, you know, you just say, hey, that fear comes back, and
it's some so far the PTSD.
It's very dangerous health-wise, because such people, when you hear those kind of noise and all that fright comes into you,
a flash.
It's really scary. It's really very, very dangerous.
Nobody should really experience that.
I really don't understand, because this at the point at which insecurity is persistent in the country, anybody can be abducted. Look at all these young kids.
Just by wishing. You mean an abductor can just go into a place and unpick people just like that?
I keep saying it, what baffles me the most, these people, set of people who abduct people, they don't abduct them on bicycles, Okada. They don't put them on bikes to take them away. How will they have passed? What route will they have passed?
And sometimes they do as well, because there are some persons who have said these people will come on bikes.
But they will come with a bus, but the bikes will be there as well.
Sometimes they come in a vehicle. Sometimes they come on bikes, many bikes, and then they put people either with bike, the motorcycle, or with bus. One thing is sure, they pass through the roads. And sometimes they come in convoy, like 15, 20. Do you mean nobody saw anything at that time? Or people are just helpless, and there are no checkpoints that they pass before they go into the forest? Many questions, begging for answers, and permanent answers as well. All right, here at the top strip, federal government begs for more time as Labour meets to decide on indefinite strike. Nothing can be done until Tinubu is back. Lalong. That is the Minister of Labour saying whatever meeting is being held, the action will only be taken by the president. I'm not sure this is a good answer enough.
You're the minister. That's your portfolio. That's where you should be able to handle things on behalf of the government.
I think for me, it's just a delaying tactic, if you ask me. But then, what do I know? That will be all on the front page of the Daily Sun for today.
And from the Daily Sun, I'll take my first set of headlines from the pages of the Daily Times. And the big bold headline there, it says, unfavorable PEPC judgment that's credited to the Presidential Election Petitions Committee. You have that big bold headline there. It says PDP, LP smell a rat in Supreme Court fire. What do you make of that?
I wish them good luck because the Supreme Court PRO has spoken on the matter and said there's no cause for alarm. Let's just take it as it is. But then, you know, when politics is concerned, is involved rather, everybody's a suspect. I think that's what's happening.
Well, we just hope, because looking at that incident, fire at the Supreme Court, and at this moment in time, the world is anticipating judgment.
But then it should even be taken into perspective. It's not like the old Supreme Court got burnt.
A couple of
just some offices or so. So when you say Supreme Court is burnt, some average persons who possibly doesn't have the details, it will look like the whole of the building, the whole of the institution is what got burnt. Just few places, and it has been spoken to. Possibly the level of the damage that has been done. But just like I said earlier, politics will always be interesting.
Moving on and coming further down here, embattled Ondo Deputy Governor heads to court to stop impeachment. And just as we rightly said, it's also a never-ending story. It's a seasonal movie. We keep our fingers crossed. Looking at what's happening in Edo State, it's been there for a while, but still, we just keep getting to see and hear and read of the drama from those states. So Edo, Ondo. Let's see. U.S. expects peaceful Bayelsa Guba polls. Not just the U.S.,
even we, Nigeria.
Us here.
Thank you.
And we expect a peaceful one. Imo, Kogi, Bayelsa.
Yes.
We expect a peaceful poll as well. NBA berates LG chair over omission in palliatives committee. NBA? Flyover bridge on Enugu Port Harcourt Expressway caves in. That's the picture you're seeing there.
Very sad.
That's the picture there.
A highway, for that matter.
A bridge. My. Then on the bottom strip of the same day, Daily Times for today, confirmation of Tinubu's latest nominees takes front burner as Senate resumes today. Confirmation of Tinubu's latest nominees takes front burner as Senate resumes today. All right. Best of luck to them. Going to the top strip of the same daily, CBN Special Investigators Report ready soon. That's credited to the federal government. We'll keep our fingers crossed. We await what the investigators' report will look like. That's all from the pages of the Daily Times for today.
And we head straight to The Nation newspaper for today. Obi distances self from violence cause. Okay, I think that's good to know.
That's more like it.
Yeah. Major bridge collapses in Enugu. Then with the bold headline here, probe report will expose rot in CBN, says federal government. Cardoso deputies face Senate screening today. All right, we hope that will be done the right way and not just to take a bow and go, because that is boring and that is disheartening to hear the people who represent the interest of the generality of the nation through different constituencies, a senatorial district, and coming up in their well-sewn barbaric regards and all kind of attires appear at the assembly, and then when it's time to do the real work, then a nominee comes forward, and then you tell the person to take a bow and go. You mean that's how, that's the reason why your people elected you across the political lines?
Oh my God.
Please do your work. And that's why people will always want to pick on them, you know, and say they earn huge, they earn very fat salary and an allowance. And so why wouldn't you just do your basic work? Don't just go there and just ramble and rumble and throw shades and jokes and just say one thing or the other. When it's time to really be concerned with the real business, then tell the nominees because of who nominated them or who they are or how close they are to you, the proximity, and then tell them to take a bow and go. Come on. Okay, we hope that won't be the situation, but then we'll be here tomorrow to see how that pan out. Probe report, we expose rotting CBN, says federal government. Of course, the Obazi team is there. Cardoso deputies face Senate today. And of course, the protest that happened yesterday in Lagos with the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria in solidarity with Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria that was held in Lagos. The picture is there. Moving on. Government entices workers with wage award to stop strike. The picture of the Minister of Labor, former Plateau State Governor Samuel Lalong is there with rider. Lalong, give us time. That's what the government is saying. And the NLC NEC meets to decide on the next line of action. One of the papers we read earlier says the Minister of Labor is saying the president is away. Once he returns, nothing can be done. All right. Please remember the nation is the one we are talking about here, and not just few individuals. All right. Mali junta shifts election. Not the best of them in Mali. Of course, that's a nation under military junta as well, and it has been like that for some time as well. Okay, Niger junta okays French withdrawal from one junta to another, from Mali to Niger. Niger junta okays French withdrawal. Okay, maybe the French people or the representative there. You know, there was a time that they said the ambassador has remained in Niger. He's not moving. The soldiers are there. And it's been said that maybe they are leaving now. And the Nigerians, especially the junta, say, it's okay. Please leave us alone. Right? And dams disaster. 16 charged to court. That has to do with Libya. Because that incident, sad one, claimed the lives of more than 3,000 persons. And there has been talked about, and people are saying some persons are culpable. It's like the dams has been, built for renovation, due for renovation, or, some kind of upgrade. And that wasn't done. And that really, when it broke down, when the storm, blew and it affected it, hell was let loose and it claimed the lives of people. And now the mayor of Dena, some other highly placed persons are being charged to court now to come and account for what happened. Of course, we have their day in court. I'm not preempting what the court will say, but it shows that is a nation. That is a nation that is working. Accountability. You are put in a position, something goes wrong, it should be propped.
The person in charge of such a thing, I've seen situations in more developed nations or thereabout in some countries of the world, not even just about being developed or not. Once you are charged for something, the first thing to do honorably is you tender your resignation. Then but not here in Nigeria.
To step aside.
Look, let them get to find out that truly, you are involved in this.
Even if you are caught.
Yeah, but because of the fact that
somebody will have the opposition to blame.
Goodness me.
To do that.
Can we ever develop when we keep having things done this way?
I think we will. We should, because that shows that everybody will have to be serious when they are holding the trust of the people in a capacity. And I've said it time and over, especially here, that a nation that works on this policy, good deeds and rewards, bad deeds and consequences, that nation will work. When you know that when you are doing the right thing, that's the proper thing to do. And when it's time for you to be seen, you are commended, you are rewarded.
Absolutely.
Nobody is telling you or speaking grammar why this thing cannot be, why something is not available. You just know that in as much I can be diligent, I can be hardworking, I have my integrity to do what I have to do, either somebody is supervising or not, then that thing that I'm working towards, I'm going to get it. In as much is in the system, is a reward system. That one on one side. And when you flip it over, when somebody knows that if I engaged in this, irrespective of who I am or who I know, the system will expose me to consequences, then everybody will have to sit tight. But in the situation that you know you can do anything
and get away
with it based on who you know, or based on the kind of system that is being run, then what you have is this kind of thing that we are having. And we are talking about Libya, a war-torn Libya.
That's why I keep saying it, that I like the laws in Asia. It might be a little bit very harsh,
of course,
but it's kept them on their toes. It makes you, as someone who is holding forth a position, whoever you are, there's a limit.
It will call to question.
Look, if you're found guilty, you're gone. Seriously,
being gone should be explained. You know,
seriously,
but some of those things you are talking about is draconian.
Look
but this is democracy.
Look at their countries. Look at them today. See how developed they are. See the way things are happening for them. Everybody's under check.
Yeah.
But the point here is, in Africa, the tendency that, look, I want to do 7 terms at 80 something, at 90 something. I still want to be the president. It's really
yeah. But you know, I still believe even in those nations you're referring to, it's still about the people who want something to be done the right way. That's it. So sometimes it appears in Africa that maybe the democracy is the issue, but then the democracy is not the issue. It is the people. Democracy is being practiced in the US as well.
Seriously, I will still say this, that
even under the military, during the military times in Nigeria, you knew what happened.
But the fact still,
you had what happened.
There's still that fear. Because believe you me, I keep saying, I think I've said it.
I'm not sure society should be ruled unfair.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
But it should be about the rule of law.
The point is, we as human beings as well, those who are being governed upon, those governing us, do the right thing.
Yes, of course.
And
that's leadership.
It might be painful, but definitely we would adjust.
When people see the leaders doing the right thing,
honestly,
they will get in line. Fall in line, and that's it. You can't be telling, just like the situation where we narrow it down now, of our leaders telling us to please bear the pains of subsidy removal, to be temporary. You are buying these at a particular price. Just hold on. We are working on the matter. Everybody just bear it. Whatever it is you can do, adjust your food, the way you eat, adjust what you eat, adjust the kind of schools your children go, just for the pain, temporary pain, the way they call it. But then the people are seeing you flying private jets here and there, having your cronies join you, living large, still parading our streets in convoys, and then you now come on TV to tell us to as they say, buckle up. Endure. Some will even tell you there's no more buckle. Everybody's naked in this way. But then let's do the right thing. So these guys from Libya to any part of the world, you will be called to question. You don't enjoy the paraphernalia of office, and when it's time for responsibility, and then you are dorky. You know, when something has gone wrong, even if it's not your fault, you have your day in court.
Absolutely.
That's why it's good to have great and functioning institutions that will not be biased and that will not work on emotion, that will not work on recommendation. But everybody will have their day in court. These 16 have been, you know, they have been arrested and they'll be facing the court of law as well. We hope justice will take its course as well. But then everybody will know that if something goes wrong, you will be held responsible. So from the head to the followers, I don't want to say tail now, everybody will know that you have to really do what is expected of you to be done. Okay, that's it. Lawma at the bottom strip. Lawma shorts markets. Why? You get to know when you pick up a copy of The Nation. Tomorrow is Eid Malud holiday. All right. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a public holiday tomorrow. Eid Malud tomorrow.
Eid Malud. Thank you. Eid Malud. I think that's the birthday of the Prophet.
Yeah.
If I'm correct.
Either way, I just know it's going to be a public holiday tomorrow.
How does that concern you?
Oh, okay. It doesn't.
Now you know. It doesn't. We are essential workers. We just have to be here. All right. Eid Malud. Thank you, Director. And at the top strip here, Tribunal win victory for all. Sanwo-Olu tells Lagosians, you know what they say when these things happen? Be magnanimous in victory. And of course, for the persons that are lost, have the spirit of sportsmanship as well, for you to know. At the other side as well. But then it's an ongoing, if they want to take it off further, the process is still allows them to go ahead with that. But then the governor is saying there's a victory for all. That's it. 98 Court of Appeal panels sitting on 1,209 post petitions. 98 Court of Appeal panels sitting on 1,209 post petitions.
Elections that we had in February and March. Yeah. This is September. We're still on this. Now, it's not right. It's really...
The process allows it. But the judiciary, in fact, the CGN at a forum, was a few days ago, complained on the matter and said this is way too many.
Honestly.
And it's distracting. Many cases are suffering because, you know, the electoral law, as amended in 2022 or so, has given a time frame when this thing should be concluded.
Yes.
So I think it puts more pressure on the officers and the personnel of the judiciary. This is being said, 98 Court of Appeal panels sitting on more than 1,200 post petition. And you could see some of these petitions that have been determined, many of them, in fact, including the one in Lagos yesterday, saying some of these petitions, some of these cases are pre-election matters. So why are you coming with this? Sometimes it appears the lawyers, don't they know this? But somebody will say it's their job, it's their work. Of course, it depends on what they are arguing in court and what may not will finally pronounce as judgment. But then, 98 panels sitting on more than 1,200 post petition, that's a lot. That's
a whole lot. A whole lot.
And finally, here, Ayedatiwa files suit to halt impeachment. That's one man fighting for his political life in Ondo State. We wish him all the best and the good people of Ondo State as well. That will be all from the front page of The Nation for today.
Ending that from The Nation with the story of the Deputy Governor of Ondo State, I will take it up again from the pages of the Nigerian Tribune for today. And it has the headline there, Twist in Akeredolu Deputy Feud. And you have a couple of writers associated to that story. Assembly Speaker raises alarm over threat to life, says sacrifice placed near his lodge. Deputy Governor heads to court, seeks injunction against removal by Assembly. And you have other stories there. It says we have served Deputy Governor removal notice that's credited to the Assembly there. Assembly orders Chief Judge to constitute panel to investigate Ayedatiwa. And the drama continues.
It's a drama, really, especially when you are saying sacrifice placed near his lodge.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, especially at a time like this, everything becomes... you know, the kind of where everybody is a suspect at this time now. Let's even imagine if it's a cat that possibly died around the house of, you know,
whoever.
It will, at this time, it will be seen as, oh, they have come, you know, in a kind of way. Please continue.
Oh, my goodness. And that's the picture on the bottom strip there is the bridge collapse on Enugu Port Harcourt Expressway yesterday. Wow, we seeing this last night was terrifying. A bridge? Oh, wow, I don't know. Moving on, other stories.
One will not be able to imagine the kind of gridlock that will have happened on this road for commuters that are planning that road.
I appreciate God Almighty because of the fact that they've not stated here that 200 dead fatalities that actually occurred. Probably there wasn't too much of cars moving at that point in time before the collapse of the bridge. And just as somebody sent that picture to me, it was actually on one of my friend's status, and I saw the bridge at IDOWU in Lagos.
Yeah,
it's cracked in the middle. It's cracking from one side towards the middle. And we will just urge FEMA or the Lagos State
Transport Agency,
those in charge of maintaining that bridge, yes, please, the Ministry of Work, please just cut off traffic on that bridge as for now, because
and get to work.
That bridge, I think I had known that bridge ever since I was a child. That Jibo Bridge needs renovation at this moment in time.
And many bridges across the states, across the country as well. So the one thing should be said here.
Yes.
I'm not an architect rather. Okay, at least for now. By the way.
You can say.
But then, I stand to be corrected. If the agencies, the state, the government at every level or at any level that's supposed to be in charge of this have done what they are supposed to do, doesn't say most likely this will not happen. And this is what I mean. That means somebody is not doing his work. Here, a bridge will not just crack just like that. It will have been given signs.
Definitely.
In a kind of way.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes you give it up for Lagos, maybe because of the metropolitan nature or the history of Lagos as former capital. So many infrastructures are on ground in that place, and many agencies of the government are, they won't have any choice but to do what they are supposed to do. That you see many bridges that will, road closed. We are working on this because Lagos has many bridges as well. And then all the states and the federal government should take note of these things. If somebody that should maintain these, when bridges are constructed, just like any road, there should be maintenance.
That you just spoke.
Who's supposed to be in charge? A bridge will not just in a kind of way just break just like that, or just get broken or destroyed, or something somewhere. Somebody should have been looking. There should have been signs. People have been talking.
There should probably is every 2 years, every 3 years or whatever.
They have their work cut out for them.
They should maintain these things.
But who is monitoring? Who is supervising? Who should do this work?
That's just like we spoke about those 16 who have
the
been
issue
arrested in Libya now. Somebody must be accountable.
And it doesn't have to get till destruction is involved.
Absolutely.
Before we do our work. And these are some of the issues.
While looking at that, there was something that happened yesterday on the Falomo Bridge again yesterday in Lagos. A young man who wanted to actually commit suicide. He wanted to jump from that bridge, and people, you could see people on the ground floor appealing, and unfortunately he didn't notice somebody on a bike and a bike rider, and one other person just came. The man at the back just jumped down from the bike, just grabbed him, pulled him back. Don't kill yourself. It could be frustrating.
Yeah,
that's the situation.
That person will have been in a very bad state of mind, because it's not an easy way to somebody to decide, you know what, I'm ending it all.
My brother.
By the way, let's say it's suicide.
It's not the
It's not really an option.
It's not an option.
Yeah. Things are bad, really. But then
once there's life, there is hope.
There is hope. That's it.
Let me move on quickly here. Fire God section of Supreme Court. PDP demands investigation. Just like every other person, we too would demand something drastic. What caused that fire? Police confirm arrest of 19 suspected cultists in Ogun. And we in the last couple of months, 1 month or thereabout, it's been very terrible. The cult clashes in Shagamu area of Lagos State. But now, police have said... Of Ogun State, beg your pardon. Here we are. They've been able to apprehend 19 suspected cultists. Tribunal upholds Sanwo-Olu's victory. Dismisses PDP LP petition. Okay? And moving further up a bit, police arrest impeached Ogun LG boss Adebayo. Adedayo. There, and it seemed to be that's not the end of whatever that man is going through between him and the governor of the state ever since he came out to say what he said some few months ago. And FG Zamfara governor trade words over negotiation with bandits. And I will ask, should we even negotiate with bandits.
That's where we are, and personally, I think that is what has gotten us. You don't. How do you negotiate with people who, criminals? Actually, then that means you should negotiate with thieves, with robbers, with pickpockets, the way we call them, with fraudsters and Yahoo boys, and tell them, you know what? Don't do that again. Don't do that, because you can do that with criminals that are killing, that are carrying arms against the state, against the people. Armless people most of the times, and sometimes against the military personnel. They kill them, and then you say you're negotiating. And this Zamfara story is quite a very awkwardly interesting one in the matter that the state governor, Mr. Dauda, has been talking. I think Dauda Alawa has been talking on the fact that he heard that some persons are negotiating with bandits, and they are from the federal government. Some federal government agencies. I think that's the story. Yes. And he feels, who are they? How can they be doing that without his knowledge as the chief security officer of that state? So this is a matter that should not just be swept under the carpet. The governor is talking. Why are you negotiating? If you are negotiating, who are you? The governor has spoken on the matter categorically, only that he hasn't named which agencies of the government. But he's saying there are some persons on behalf of the federal government doing these negotiations. Who are you? Why will you do that without informing him? Why will you come into his state to come and do that without his knowledge? So who are they? Whose interests? We are asking now, whose interests are those people serving? Who are the bandits? Who is paying? If there is payment, what negotiation is being made? This is a state, Zamfara, that has done it before. It has not worked. Former Katsina governor, Bello Masari, did it. It didn't work. In fact, he regretted, and he said that was one of the things he most regretted in his life. And now we are hearing this is happening. It should be investigated.
It speaks a volume of what it looks like negotiating.
And then are we serious as a nation?
I'm not sure that's the way.
Is this a sign of a serious country?
You know, that's why I don't know. He's been quiet for a while, and I hope all is well with him. Gumi, the Sheikh Gumi man, he's been so silent. During the past administration, we saw he was always talking.
His interventions.
He was always going to meet with this band. Then I keep wondering, what's the role of the DSS as at that time? But by and large, it seems
that's a lot of conversation.
But the good thing here, the varsity students that were abducted, they've been able to rescue them. We know, if
13
you remember,
of them, not all of them.
They actually rescued a couple some days ago.
13.
Now they've been able to rescue the batch of 13 as well, and 3 others as well. Thank you to all our security personnel at this moment in time. Well done to you guys out there. And just as we stated earlier, diphtheria spreads across 105 local government areas in 18 states, kills 453 children. So sad, so sad. These are things we government health officials, please do the needful.
Sensitization. I'm sure this diphtheria matter is not being handled with utmost seriousness.
Honestly, because it brings me to remembrance that point at which Ebola actually first of all came into Africa.
The seriousness.
And there's this
COVID-19. So seriousness.
I don't know.
Lassa fever.
Exactly. That was what I was trying to remember again. Lassa fever. These are things whereby if it's not checkmated as such when due, the spread will be disastrous. So we're calling
and it kills very fast.
We're calling on all government establishments, health workers, please. Sensitization is of utmost importance.
That's very key.
Where we need to know what needs to be done. Please.
How does this work? What's the mode of transmission?
Please.
What's the mode of prevention? What should we do on this matter?
We need to know, please. Help us out. That will be all from the pages of Nigerian Tribune.
And the last one for this morning will be Vanguard newspaper. Insecurity, Zamfara government alleges federal government in secret talks with bandits, as we just spoke to earlier. There's an allegation. Insecurity, Zamfara governor now alleges federal government in secret talks with bandits, with riders, vows not to negotiate with bandits. Okay, Governor Dauda, that's the way to go. Not only that you will negotiate, you will work with the relevant agency to crush those criminals and root them out. Presidency keeps mum on the matter. 7 abducted Zamfara varsity students, 3 construction workers rescued by troops. Total number of students rescued now 13. All right, we've spoken to that. Edu, others at LSE bell ringing ceremony. Okay, that's Mr. Wali Adun there with a couple of other stakeholders. Now, moving on, strike. Federal government will soon conclude wage award to workers. That's coming from the Minister of Labour. Come on, lie long. And Tinubu has not reintroduced fuel subsidy. APC. All right. Fire God Supreme Court chamber destroys files and computers. And moving on, NNPC, NCDMB, IOCs sign deal to reduce contracting cycle to 180 days. Moving on, we have over 39,526 pending cases, says appeal court president. That's another angle. We have over 39,526 pending cases, says appeal court president. And in sports, 2023-2024 NMPFL season to kick off September 30. We hope so, because the history has it that sometimes you get to see the resumption dates being postponed over and over, being shifted, but we hope these will hold now. Talking about the 2023-2024 Nigeria Professional Football League season, built to kick off by September 30, and I think that will be this coming Saturday. Yeah. All right. At the bottom strip, the columnist, the Koko, Ebisheni, Teniola, and when we move up, federal government or Nigerians, be patient with us on tough economic reforms. Okay, for how long? That's the question. Leadership, insecurity, poverty, others stalling Nigeria's development. ACF is the Arewa Consultative Forum, saying leadership, insecurity, poverty, others stalling Nigeria's development. And NNPP slams Kano Tribunal over bandit terrorist claim. Okay, you need a detailed pick up a copy of this paper. That's the Vanguard. NNPP slams Kano Tribunal over bandit and terrorist claim. And Iden Malud, federal government declares tomorrow public holiday, and that will be all on the front page of the Vanguard. I think for this session at this time, we've been able to serve you with very juicy stories. I think now you can safely tell yourself you are informed, of course, about what is happening in Nigeria. We'll go on a break right now, short break. When we come back, we again talking. It's the Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Just like we said earlier, we are live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television, and we're live on X, on Instagram, and of course on our Facebook page at Western Spring Television as well. We'll be right back after this break. Please stay with us.
The British Empire was the largest and the most powerful in the world. At its zenith, the empire embraced a quarter of the Earth's land surface and imposed her imperial majesty's rule on more than 458 million peoples across nations and continents. The empire took off with overseas possessions and trading posts established by England, spread over 3 million kilometers between 16th and early 18th century. Like previous empires, the British Empire began to crumble on its weight of overstretched territories and growing unrest in our various colonies. Today, the British Empire no longer exists. What is in place is the Commonwealth of Nations, a loose association of sovereign states which recognize the King of England as the titular head. Western Spring Television identifies the British Empire as a watershed empire in history.
Where is your go-to destination for quality content on TV? Stop the search and catch us live. Western Spring Television, channel 190 on Star Times. We take pride in delivering top-notch programs that keep you glued to your screen, from juicy entertainment gist to engaging current affairs programs, politics, exclusive news, sports, drama, gossip, music, and hey, your kids are not left out. These are available in English and Yoruba languages. Also get exclusive premieres, captivating documentaries, and thrilling live events only on Western Spring Television on Star Times channel 190. It's either you laugh, learn, giggle, dance, or shout on Western Spring Television. It's no boredom zone. We are value driven. So catch us live on Western Spring Television on Star Times channel 190. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can also subscribe and live stream our programs on YouTube. Your television experience just got better. Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Dramatist, playwright, and icon of Yoruba thematic arts, Duro Ladipo was born December 18, 1931 in Osogbo, southwest Nigeria. His clergyman father christened him Timothy. His other names, Duro Dola, Duro Shomo, Duro Rike, reflected his personal and the circumstances that surrounded his birth. The legendary stage actor had in several public fora identified himself as one of the greatest abikus born to die in this world. Family records reveal how he was born and died 13 times. The intertwining names he bore thus lent credence to his spiritism. Duro Ladipo was one of the best known and world-acclaimed Yoruba dramatists to emerge from post-colonial Africa. His notable works Obakoso, Obawaja, and Moremi took him beyond Africa to several parts of the world. By the time Duro Ladipo died on 11 March 1978, the Nigeria's first cultural ambassador had acquired a towering image as an artist whose works adorned the frontage of Trenchard Hall, University of Ibadan. Western Spring Television identifies Duro Ladipo as a major character in history. Fumilayo Ransom Kuti was an educationist and advocate of women's rights. She was recognized for her vitriolic comments against colonial policy of taxation as it affected the Nigerian women. Bere, as fondly addressed by her women followers, Fumilayo championed the initiation of universal adult suffrage, which gave an unprecedented leeway for women to contest elective offices and power to exercise voting rights. Married to a foremost educationist and teacher, Israel Oladotun Ransom Kuti, the first president of Nigeria Union of Teachers, Fumilayo Ransom Kuti was the mother of children who inherited her spirit of activism. Olufela and Be Ololari, the former, a renowned musical legend. She was the first female student of Abeokuta Grammar School and the first female to own and drive a car in Nigeria. The award recipient of Member of Order of Nigeria MON and Lenin Peace Prize, was born on 25th October 1900 and was killed on 13th April 1978 by rampaging road soldiers in Lagos. Western Spring Television identifies Fumilayo Ransom Kuti as a watershed character in history. Hilas Olayinka Herbert Macaulay, politician, nationalist, and journalist, was the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer, surveyor, and architect. Born on November 14, 1864, Herbert Macaulay was the founder of Nigeria's National Democratic Party, the first political party in pre-independent Nigeria. Scholars of Nigeria's political history describe Herbert Macaulay as the intellectual bulldog of 19th century Nigerian nationalist movement, in a deference to his qualities as founder and leader of two foremost political parties, Nigeria National Democratic Party (NNDP) and National Council of Nigerian Citizens (NCNC). His matchless versatility in party organization and control kept the British colonialists on their toes in the entire span of his active life. After his death on 7th May 1946, Herbert Macaulay remains a hero of his country, which recognized his anti-colonial struggles. Today, Nigeria's 10 naira coin bears his oval face and trademark moustache. Western Spring Television identifies Herbert Macaulay as a major character in history.
Where is your go-to destination for quality content on TV? Stop the search and catch us live. Western Spring Television, channel 190 on StarTimes. We take pride in delivering top-notch programs that keep you glued to your screen, from juicy entertainment gist to engaging current affairs programs, politics, exclusive news, sports, drama, gossip, music, and hey, your kids are not left out. These are available in English and Yoruba languages. Also get exclusive premieres, captivating documentaries, and thrilling live events only on Western Spring Television on StarTimes channel 190. It's either you laugh, learn, giggle, dance, or shout on Western Spring Television. It's no boredom zone. We are value driven. So catch us live on Western Spring Television on StarTimes channel 190. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can also subscribe and live stream our programs on YouTube. Your television experience just got better. Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Born 16th September 1923, named Harry Lee Kwan and known as Lee Kuan Yew, he was often addressed by his initials of LKY. Lee Kuan Yew was a barrister and the first Prime Minister of Singapore between 1959 and 1990. Educated at Raffles Institution from 1936 to 1940, and the Fitzwilliam House between 1947 and 1949, Lee Kuan Yew established a highly effective and anti-corrupt governance system that midwifed the transformation of Singapore into a high net worth income economy within a generation. He never hid his exception to Western mode democratic ideal, which he believed had not assisted developing nations to attain good government. Before his death on 23rd March 2015, the People's Action Party
Thank you for being here with us. It's still Morning Spring right here from Western Spring Television, the station that says it as it is. It's about that time we get into the conversation, and on the show today, we will definitely bring you up to speed as to certain reports that we've had in the last couple of days, just to be able to brief us and get us back in tune as to where we stand, why it stands right now. So we will bring them
on
to you
issues.
on different issues.
Issues.
We'll bring them, and a big thank you to all our reporters, Toby Sanusi, Yinka Ali, Olayinka Ali, and amongst others. Let's take them one after the other, and we will come back into the studio and we will analyze and discuss this. Take it from here.
Access to education just got more difficult with the increment of school fees implemented by many government-owned universities and other higher institutions of learning. The development comes as the country battles economic downturn and soaring inflation following the fuel subsidy removal, flotation of naira, among other economic policies in the Tinubu-led administration. The tuition hike was not well received by the Nigerian students, many of whom are self-funding or have struggling parents. Taiwo Adedapo, a Part 4 student of education and political science at the FEMI Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, OAU, who sponsors himself in school, is one of those students. He says many students in his shoes may be forced to drop out of school owing to the fee hike.
50% plus of students will drop out if the increment in school fees stand. I got admission to University around 2016 or so, when my first jam. But I could not. A lot of persons even advised that I could not, there was no how I could pay for this fee. A majority of us waited. We did jam 3 times before we could get admission to OAU here. Some of us would have gone to private institutions. There were a lot of us that were even given partial scholarship, like you will be paying 80% in private institution. Sorry, you'll be paying 20%. The institution or the sponsoring authority of that scholarship will be paying the 80%. But still, we still could not afford it. But we waited, we read massively so that we could gain admissions to OAU. See, let me tell you something. Majority of OAU students are now self-funding persons, including myself. We were paying this school fee ourselves.
OAU, a federal government institution that many financially handicapped students see as a safe haven, is just one out of the many other government institutions that have increased their fees.
I was the assistant general secretary of my faculty. We were paying 20,000 naira. I can tell you we raised funds for some of our colleagues who could not afford it. What do you think will now happen to these persons who could not afford 20,000 naira as at when economy was still better compared to now? That you have to do a lot of things. They have to do many things, printings. Like, how do you expect them to pay? They will not pay, they will drop out. People carried out as of fee. About 70% of OAU students cannot afford this money. OAU is a institution that people that are poor, but the whole education come to.
Before the increment, students in the faculties of Art, Law and Humanities were paying 20,100 naira, but they will now have to pay 89,200, more than double the previous fee. In a like manner, the University of Lagos, UNILAG, also reviewed its fees from 19,000 naira to 190,250 for students studying medicine, while for other courses that require laboratory and studio, students are to pay 140,250. The fee was, however, reduced by 20,000 naira following several protests by the students. The institutions argue that someone has to foot the skyrocketing bills brought about as a result of the impact of fuel subsidy removal, and in this case, it's the parent. The parents also have their job cut out for them, as many will now have to pay more than triple of what was being paid before in a country where more than half of the whole population live in multidimensional poverty, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. Akim Adetunji, who has a child in OAU, says the increase was expedient. Dr. Adetunji, who is also an educationist, believes the cost of education in Nigeria is ridiculously low.
As far as the increment is concerned, it may be ridiculous looking at the percentage increase, but I have to let the public know that we have been paying ridiculous amounts before. It may interest you to know that I pay more on my children who attend secondary schools and primary. Okay? So while I was paying 28,500 for my son in the university, I was paying, something like 90,000 naira for my son who is in secondary school.
However, many believe the quality of education in government-owned institutions is commensurate with the low cost of education. Amidst the row between the government, student, institutions and parents lies the call for student loans, a bill passed into law by President Tinubu. Dr. Adetunji asked the federal government to cut back on the conditions for applying for the student loan, part of which include providing 2 guarantors, of whom must be either level 12 civil servant, lawyer with 10 years experience, or a justice of peace. A difficult process, many Nigerian students say.
We can only beg the government to make available, as they are promised, student loans. The conditions for student loans, if you have read through the laws governing the student loans, you will discover that it will not be very easy to get. But I can only beg the government to ensure that they soft their pedal on conditions of obtaining these loans so that it can be accessible to all students, especially the indigent. If they can allow parents to pay it twice in a year, I think this can actually bring peace, into our minds.
In the meantime, the move for school fees reversal is still on by the student body in a number of institutions, but hopes of reverting to old fees dim by the day as every sector in Nigeria battles economic realities. Toby Sanusi, Western Spring Television News.
All right. Thank you, Toby, for that report concerning the tuition fees from the FEMI IDOWU University, amongst other universities in the country, whereby there had been protests and calls to bring back the old amount that was being paid. And looking at that, from your own perspective, what do you foresee? I remember in one of the reports we had some time ago, one of the students from Lagos, Unilag, University of Lagos, was actually a lady precisely, was crying and begging that please, she doesn't want to drop out. This amount of money, this for the fees of the schools at this point in time, what do you make of it? Wouldn't this affect kids whose parents are struggling to make ends meet?
Obviously, definitely, the hike in anything, definitely most times are not well received. Either is school fees, either is electricity tariff fee, either is subscription fee, either is all kind of fee, water, anything that has to do with utility. The moment is increased, especially when it doesn't come from a place of agreement. Sometimes it for the person that will bear the burden, it wouldn't happier right at all. So talking about the tuition hike, the schools we've had, at least for example, OAU in Ife, as FEMI IDOWU University in Ife, University of Lagos. They are cockeyed in Lagos there, and some other universities as well, talking tough on the matter. The student there, the SUG, the Union Government Body, saying they are not going to take this. The increase in some situation was as high as 600%. For somebody paying less than 30,000 naira before, and I've been hijacked to the tuition rapidly, being increased to like 190,000, 200,000. One would say that cannot be foreseen at all. 30 to 190, 200 based on the university. I mean, based on the courses, based on either labs being used or not. And these are the issues. The students are talking tough. The parents are saying this is one that cannot really be explained. But then the universities are saying, with the economic reality in town, things are not the same. And if we are to be fair, even you as a person, these things are not the same for real. Things that you are buying possibly 100 naira before, you can't see it at that price again. It has 300 naira, 400 naira. And that's the same thing that is happening. Talking about the cost of running a university community. Even they have their utility as well. So many things, maintenance, payment of teachers at times. Some of these universities sometimes have in-house kind of intervention that they are doing just to support what the government are doing. Of course, they have subventions. Of course, the government pays for the salary, the allowances, and it as well. And so these are the issues that some people feel, even when for example, some of the interviews we had on this program, some of the student union leaders agreed that yes, there might be increase, but it should not be as high as that, because they believe for somebody still paying 30,000 naira, 27,000 naira in 2023 and struggling to pay, some of them, fingers are not equal. That's what they say, and that's what it is. Now, if you're not increasing it to like 35, 40, 50 or 60, now you're taking it to like 190,000, 200,000, and that is what they are saying it cannot be done. Because I remember asking the student union governor government leader, the president of OAU, Mr. Keremi Ojo, and said, do you believe it should be brought back to exactly the same point? He said, yes, there might be increase, or no, that there might be increase, but it should not be as astronomical as that as well. You've seen a parent speak on the matter, and then many things are being done. Then we are keeping our fingers crossed to see what is really going on, and what, especially when the government at the time gave a directive and said there should not be increase in tuition fee. And now the idea of student loan has been mentioned as well. When is this coming on board? Maybe these will help matters. And some have said maybe the fact that government has spoken about student loans, maybe that's why the universities are jacking up the fees as well. But then you can't give on one hand and then be taking it at the other hand as well. Maybe the student loan is a good idea, but some of the conditions as well, we had this displayed here earlier. Some of the conditions attached to this student loan, some of them, you know, will not be easily come by some persons, especially if you are not part of the, you know, what we term as the middle income earners, or the guys at the upper part of the echelons of the society as well. And these are some of the issues for you to know. If I have to access student loan, then I have to bring a Jerusalem privilege, somebody, a civil servant of, there we go. You have it on our screen, somebody that has experience, and then the repayment, if you can go back to that, you know, the conditions as well. And some of it are there, yes, criteria, applicant's income or family income must be less than 500,000 naira per annum. Students must provide at least 2 guarantors, each of whom must either be civil servant of at least level 12, a lawyer with at least 10 years post-call experience, a judicial officer, a justice of peace. Some of these, I think, to see 2 guarantors should not really be an issue, but who are they? What is their pedigree? And can those things be easily come by first by the student? These are some of the issues that should be looked at.
We just hopefully we keep our fingers crossed and just pray that the student loan as proposed by Mr. President, yes, beautiful idea, but for me, I see all this the recommendations that has to be put in place that a bit stringent. Yes, we know how it is. Where
maybe the government are just trying to play safe.
When you get the loan, some people tend not to want to pay back. But that's why they want certain people they can obviously
hold responsible.
But by and large, majorly the tuition fee, which we are discussing this morning, something urgent, drastic needs to be done. If you were paying 30,000, 27, 30,000 per term, now it has been moved to almost 200,000 naira. Salaries are not increased. Workers' salaries aren't increased.
At least yet.
So
we're only hearing about plans, and
it's been there over so many years. But by and large, we just hope something will be drastically done.
And fast.
Fast. We'll take our next report here, and it's something you would want to definitely concur with. Stay with us.
Says is more than 100 years old, and the town he has lived in for over a century has never seen electricity. We have not had electricity since I was born. Elewure community is a town located in Ede South local government area of Osun State, in southwest Nigeria. The community is blessed with fertile land, making it possible for farming activities to thrive. But the thousands of residents of this town have one major challenge: a lack of electricity. This has made business activities very slow, with little or no activity taking place in the town, aside the display of farm produce on the Osogbo-Ife highway, where the community is situated. Moril Ibrahim and Kamarudin Adekola, who are residents of the community, say mobile phone owners in the town have to travel some kilometers to neighboring towns to enable them charge their devices.
Business activities in this town are almost non-existent. It is seriously affecting the women because there are several other businesses we can engage in aside farming. But this is not possible because of lack of electricity.
Whenever we want to charge our phones, we usually transport the devices to neighboring towns like Shekona and Ede. The unavailability of electricity has caused us unimaginable stress.
According to the traditional chief of Elewure community, Babatunde Busari, several efforts have been made over the past years by leaders in the town to draw the attention of the local and state governments to their plight. He says about 15 years ago, the state government brought a transformer to the town, but the necessary installations have not been carried out till now.
Former Governor Ilola donated a transformer to our community more than 15 years ago, but the final installation to enable us have electricity was not carried out. We have made several efforts since then, including writing several letters to the state government, but nothing has been done yet.
Chief Busari appealed to the Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke to come to the aid of the community by ensuring the residents have access to electricity.
So I will use this opportunity to place Mr. Governor Ademola Adeleke Jackson to reason about our environment, about the light in our community. We don't have lights.
This correspondent reached out to the chairman of the Ede East Area Council, who is in charge of Elewure community. He admits knowledge of the situation but declined to grant an interview. However, the lawmaker representing Ede South State constituency at the Osun State House of Assembly, Taufik Olayiwola, promised to work with the executive in a bid to solve the town's electricity challenge within the next 1 year.
This one cannot be this size that it's not budgeted for current appropriation. But by next year, when we are budget in place this year, against next year, we'll ensure that we include them the other half. And I assure you they will have light. I know the place very well, and they are my own people. My own people. They voted for me. They sent me here. So that there should be more paramount to me.
According to the Energy Progress Report 2022, released by Tracking SDG 7, Nigeria has the lowest access to electricity globally, with about 92 million persons out of the country's 200 million population lacking access to power. The power problem in Nigeria has remained a perennial difficulty, but residents of Elewure community, including Tiamiyu Lawal, who is more than 100 years old, will hope clearly defined actions are taken by the government to address their plight. Olalekan Akindoju, Western Spring Television News.
All right, you're welcome back. That report compiled by our own Olalekan Akindoju. But then today, how can you imagine, of course you can't, for somebody who is 100 years old and has never set his eye on electricity in his community? And this is 2023.
The painful thing here is every 4 years, there's an election in our dear nation, Nigeria.
Yeah.
At least, yeah. But the point is, these are part of the promises of politicians. Ever since we got democracy, it's always been that promise. We would always we'll do this for them. And once they get into office, they don't remember them anymore. How will a man who is about 100 years old, and he said, ever since he was there, he's been there, he's not seen power supply, electricity. Are they part of this planet called Earth? At this point, because it's rather fascinating to say, for a 100-year-old man in his community, he has not seen power.
Yeah.
Governments at all levels should probably put their hands on their faces and feel too bad. I don't want to just use the usual word.
Yeah.
Because this isn't it isn't good. It's unfair.
A basic social amenity.
Look,
basic.
Excuse me. I've experienced situations, some parts of the world where they will come on television, they will come on radio to tell you that between 9 o'clock p.m., 9 o'clock a.m., 2 p.m., they'll give you a time.
Yeah.
Wolves is power for 25 minutes, for 16 minutes, for half an hour. Believe you me, it's not going to be more than that.
And there are reasons.
Obviously.
Possibly maintenance, possibly,
Honestly.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be more than that period.
Not a second late.
Not a second late. Not to not talk of a man, of a community that's not seen electricity for over 100 years.
Yeah.
My father hasn't even been born. 100 years. That's unfair.
And you know, the man spoke to some issues, and he said, especially the man that's the, I think the traditional chief there, who spoke to the fact that a particular government, I think that of Governor Inola, came there with a transformer, but the necessary things wasn't done. A transformer will not just power light without other things being done. And you're looking at the community, very agrarian, and this is the honorable representing that local government saying, yes, he knows what the plight is, and he's working on the matter. He even said, they are my people. And so I'm aware that Taufik Aulayiwola, at the South constituency lawmaker at the Osun State House of Assembly, he has said, yes, he's aware. But then for how long will this be? You can imagine if peradventure there is any child that has not really gone out of that community, the way the child will feel anytime he or she steps out of that community into another community and sees what life looks like rather.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially as power is concerned. And these are the issues. Now, if not because we've taken our cameras there and are very diligent reporters, the team of reporters have been there to bring in these, there is possibility for somebody possibly living in Lekki, or somebody living in Victoria Land, or somebody living in GRA in Osogbo to think that cannot happen.
Obviously.
How do you mean? And this is not...
We might not even know. We might not hear of this community.
This is happening.
You know, one other
Elewure community. That's the name of the community.
One major thing, again, that baffles me the most. A transformer has been supplied, has been given to the community. The necessary, the appropriate authorities...
That's more than 12 years ago, at least.
The appropriate authorities that should go connect, do the needful, will come and ask you, you guys have to contribute this amount of money for us to come and do
to handle this or that. Now, a transformer that was dropped there.
Exactly.
Now,
over 50 years
former
ago.
Governor Inola left, like, at least we've had 8 years of Ogbeni Aregbesola.
Yes.
4 years of former Governor Itola.
Yes.
Almost a year of Governor Adeleke. That's cumulatively 13 years. Let's even say a transformer that has been dropped there more than 30 years ago. With that transformer being still in good condition, you know, that has not been activated and put up for work, how are we even sure that transformer have not been vandalized? And you know, the criminal element possibly going there to just loot that particular transformer. And what is the situation? What's the population of that? It's possibly looking like a small community. And then you see the people there. You can see the woman who talked and said, when they have, definitely there is telecommunication signal there, because the woman said, we have phones, but we want to charge our phone. We have to travel to go and charge your phone.
Community.
Of course, that is Nigeria, a part of Nigeria rather, of 2023. So for persons possibly watching us across the world who feels, is this happening? This is happening, and we are seeing it live on Western Spring Television. The good thing is the honorable there, representing, Honorable Taufik representing the South local government, is aware, and he said he knows what is going on, and he's going to try his best on the matter. Definitely the state government is aware now that this is happening, because of course this has been beamed live on Western Spring Television, and this is not just something gotten from the internet. It was done by our team. And now, if you don't know before, now you know.
And it's at this point as well, we are lending our voice and voices to call on the honorable who must have campaigned around there to become an honorable today. These are your people, as you rightly stated. Please bring light into their society,
every
into their
political
lives.
figure, every leaders across all levels in that place.
It's on. You guys live in GRAs, you know what, you use air conditioners, but they don't have the opportunity. Let's make life bearable for them, for all of us in one way or the other.
And not just in Elewure, in other communities as well. Because I know Elewure community is not the only community without light. In fact, apart from Osho, in Osun State, there's a community that had something similar like that. In fact, communities in Ondo State, especially the riverine part, at some point. In fact, they've even had light at some point. Then later, the light ceased. many things went wrong with the power distribution company.
Oh boy.
And then the last time I checked, I don't know what has happened now, but this shows that these are basic amenities. That the people, it's not a luxury.
Honestly,
having power is not a luxury. It's part of what you should provide for your people.
Seriously.
And now I wonder which tax officer or which local government officer will go into that community and say you need tax.
You see, you're so right.
Because these are the issues.
Honestly,
possibly on their market day, you see these tax persons go there to say, this is a ticket for this. We are not saying you should not do that. But what will you, to the government, either at the local government or at the LCDA or at the state government level, what will you say is the gain of these people?
Are they benefiting from anything that you have to now tax them again?
Yeah, the value for money. This is it.
This is a clarion call to His Excellency, the Osun State Governor. We appeal that please let's do the needful at this moment in time.
Yeah. Of course, we'll go to the next one. Today is a day on the program, rather, to bring you up to speed on some of the things we've looked at and we are working in to see the state of things on the matter. We have one more for you. Please state it.
Recently, an audio emerged from Oluwatoyin Ayinde, a pensioner who was a former staff of the Osun State government, a resident of Iwo, Osun State, which went viral, calling the Ademola Adeleke's administration to pay the arrears and backlogs of pensions in the states. The audio raised the dust, and immediately the government swung into action by having a meeting with the pensioners, which was chaired by the Deputy Governor of the state, Kola Adewusi, alongside the SSG Teslim Igbalaye and the Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Kolapo Alimi, today in Osogbo. Oluwatoyin Ayinde, who sent the audio out, as this to say, after a meeting with the government.
Yes, I'm the one who sent the audio out, that these people, we are in much suffering. Suffering is too much. Now we have explained everything to them, and they are ready to do everything we want now.
Osun State Chairman of the Nigeria Union of Pensioners, Ganiu Salau, in an interview shortly after the meeting, stated that the Adeleke's administration has listened to their plight, while praising the administration for being considerate since they came on board. Salau, however, said the outcome of the meeting was fruitful, as the government already assured them that their arrears will be paid.
We have been able to resolve all the grievances that has occurred between us. So we are sincerely very appreciative of the efforts of this present administration, and we have resolved all our grievances. And hopefully, I am sure pensioners will have to smile at the end of the day. So we are grateful.
Chairman Contributory Pensioners Osun State, Benga Oyadare, also stated that the pensioners and the government arrived at a fruitful conclusion which will satisfy both sides, saying that the implementation is a nice process since payment is granted.
We recommended that there must be special intervention fund, and we all agree that agreement will be transmitted to the governor and that they will sit down to look how it can be worked out.
Osun State Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Kolapo Alimi, gave his assurance that there is an established agreement between the government and the pensioners and the arrears would be paid.
You agree with me that we have reached a compromise. All the gray areas has been properly ironed out. And as it is now, as I've stated earlier on your radio and television, it's going to be a win-win. So it's a win-win for both the public and the pensioners. So just be sure that all the hula baloo has been laid to rest.
Alimi added that all bank issues with the contributory pensioners is being looked at and would be resolved soon, while stating that the government will look into getting intervention funds so as to ameliorate the sufferings of the pensioners.
What I'm trying to say that we have laid all the papers on the table. The pensioners have actually saw what is going on, and they have seen what is going on, and we have had an agreement. And very soon, I believe, for the contributory pensioners that are supposed to be paying every month, we discovered that there are issues with banks and those that are paying. We have called them, and the issue will be resolved very soon, and they will be receiving the outstanding arrears of what is supposed to collect.
Following the agreement reached at today's emergency consultative meeting, the contributing pensioners will now put on hold their planned protest while expecting that the state government abides by the pact. Olayinka Ali, Western Spring Television News.
I'd like to thank you, Olayinka Ali, for that report. And if you had followed us yesterday, or better still, you can go take a recap from our YouTube page. They were here yesterday, and they actually made us realize that they were going to be having a meeting with the government of Osun State, which they did yesterday. And there you go, as at yesterday. Hopefully, we hope pensioners will get their entitlement as at when due. And let's look at the rate at which our pensioners survive in this. The government in Nigeria at this point in time, I don't know, maybe they're not sympathetic enough to people who have served this nation diligently for 35 years, or they've actually attained the maximum 60 years in service. These are things that shouldn't be toyed with. These are things that I feel as at when due. That's the best thing for any human being. I am working for you. I expect that my salary comes in as at when due. It gives that motivation. It helps us to be able to want to do much more.
And to plan.
But when you have pensioners being owed arrears, 4 months, 5, 2 years, 3 years, we heard from them yesterday, some of them had passed on. Some of them are blind because they couldn't get money to get drugs.
Yeah, to take care of themselves.
This to feed alone, it's very painful. So we just hope now that this has been done, government at all levels, please, as Christians, and I know it's in the holy book of the Quran as well, every worker is definitely due to his wages. They might not be able to get the hundreds of millions you guys get as salaries, as bonuses, benefits, but whatever is accrued to anybody, let it get to them as a way due.
Of course, speaking about the holy books, the Holy Bible, possibly the Holy Quran as well, talked about the fact that these should be, that the sweat, rather, should not even dry off before you give them what belongs to them. Meaning, in as much they are working, let them have the reward for their labor. And now, yesterday, just like we said, we had the chairman of the contributory pension, Mr. Oyadari here.
Yes.
Finger Oyadari was here on the program. And of course, the NUP, Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Osun State chapter, the chairman was here, Alhaji Salawu was there, and they talked on the matter. One thing that stood out for me was the fact that they said the body that pays, or the employers rather, that's the Osun State government, in which they work for, who are supposed to pay them, are committed. The contributory pensioners issue was the speed at which the payment was being done, because things are getting bad. Some of their members are living in very terrible conditions, and which made them even took a step without informing the parent body, and they ironed it out, and they had that meeting with the state government, the representative of the state government, who at that meeting was the deputy governor, Mr. Kola Adewusi. The commissioner for information was there as well, and then we saw the resolution on our screen saying, okay, some things have been proposed. Just take it to the governor and let him, let them work it out so that things will be done the right way. And that has been done. They looked happy after, speaking on the matter as well. So that 2 week ultimatum, I'm not sure, possibly still going to go ahead because a meeting has been held and that has been abridged for them to speak on the matter as we coast home on these issues. I think I've said it on this forum before, and the issue is this. Can we get to the point? This is not even about Osun State alone. Can we get to the point in which people retire this month, September, and October?
They're getting their pensions.
It's as easy.
Seriously.
For somebody who will be attaining 60 or 65 years, he or she already knows Possibly there are documents that he or she is supposed to tender.
Yeah.
He or she will have been working on that,
absolutely.
submitting into the right quarters, these things being collated, being compiled. If it's about contributory pensions, that one even on the surface looks easy because that means you are paying a part, your employer, the government is paying a part. All you have to do is, if the two sides have done what they should do, the needful, just within a month, people should have their entitlement. I'm not sure that's rocket science. I'm not sure that's something that cannot be held. Why do they have to wait for 2 years, a year, 3, 4, 5, some 10 years for them to get what belongs to them? Now, the bad side is this. If actually there are children who are affected, their daddy and mommy have worked for so company, so government, and this is the way they were treated. And because they were very truthful, they didn't soil their hands in very bad things. Now, the children who possibly doesn't have that patience, who have seen how the father or the mother has suffered, many am alive. There's this thing they call am alive, just to show that you are still alive, that you should have, you should be paid, Some of them will just think, if this is what my mom or my dad has gone through, I won't go through the same thing. And that will make such a person, which is not ideal, let's state it there, is not ideal, but to be open to all kinds of opportunities, either rightly or wrongly.
Yes.
To say, in as much I have to work for the government and I have to wait for unending years to have my right, I'd rather take care of myself, quote and unquote, take care of myself in that particular way, which is not good as well. How can your parents retire 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years? Some of these illness that come with old age.
Yes.
They have to take care of themselves.
Seriously.
It's not everybody that are lucky or blessed enough, to have children that are okay. The way they will say your children are okay enough to take care of them. Some of the children are still struggling to make ends meet. Possibly whatever they are handing over to their parents is not enough. Now, what rightly belongs to the parents are not being paid. But then Osun State are saying we are trying, they are trying on the matter as well. The pensioners have agreed. They hope something permanent will be done and fastly as well. But across board, pension gratuity should not be something that should take forever to dispatch with, especially it becomes more sad now because we've had in this nation before how some people put in charge of pension
siphoned
went on to steal the same money, and then the case doesn't really have a head now. But then kudos, we celebrate our pensioners, and for those that are still in service, better days ahead. Please do your best and let your conscience be very free. I would like to thank you for being with us on this program today. Different reports being read that has to do with you, our distinguished viewers across the world. This will be the size of the program today. We'll return for the midweek edition. God helping us tomorrow, 7 a.m. at the same time. Please join us on our social media handles, on X, on Facebook, on Instagram at Western Spring Television, and of course on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Femi Ojo is my name. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you for being there with us, and on behalf of the entire transmission team, thank you for being there. TUNDE IDOWU is my name at Irresistible TD on X. We'll see you tomorrow.
World Cup tension is back.
Didn't quite get that right.